At 12 o'clock, they were at the bottom of the hills. There was no wind. It was very hot. I want a drink, said Alex. I want some food, too. Can we have our picnic? Yes, said Catherine. But it is very hot here. We can go in there, said Alex, and he pointed to a hole in the side of the hill. It was behind some tall trees. It's a cave, said Catherine. We can eat our picnic there. The children liked the cave. It was clean and light, but it was not hot. There was sand on the floor. Put the bag here, said Catherine. We can sit on these stones. I like it here, said Alex. I can bring some toys here. We can put them behind these stones. Yes, said Catherine. It is our picnic cave. We can put wood across the front, and we can play here. Do not tell grandfather or grandmother. Do not tell anyone. For the children, it was game. They did not know it was the start of an adventure. Chapter 2. Where is Biff? In the afternoon, the children played the games in the cave. Look, shouted Alex. There is a hole at the back of the cave. It is full of stones, but there is a small hole at the top. Can I climb up and look? Be careful, said Catherine. Do not fall. Alex climbed to the top and looked into the small hole. I cannot see, he said. It's dark in there. Catherine and Alex went to the cave again the next day. It was Tuesday. They're taking Biff to the hills, they said to their grandmother. This time they put a torch in the back. Catherine climbed the pile of stones, and she looked into the small hole at the top. I can see now, she said. It's another cave. I'm shining the torch on the ceiling, but I cannot see the bottom. We can move some stones and make a bigger hole. Then we can see. Can we go in then? Said Alex. I do not know, said Catherine. The children worked for a long time. There were a lot of stones. They were very heavy. Alex and Catherine were careful. Now there was a bigger hole. We can go in the cave now, said Catherine. Please hold the torch for me. Catherine climbed over the last stones. She put her foot on the floor of the cave. There was water. She put her hand on the wall. There was water there too. She climbed into the cave. Be careful, she said. It is wet. Do not fall. Hold my hand. Alex climbed over the stones. Biff was last. He did not like the water, and he was not happy. He had his tail between his legs. The two children looked at the cave. It was small, smaller than the picnic cave. It was colder too and very quiet. The hole was behind them. Through the hole was the picnic cave. Outside, there were birds. There was grass. It was a hot day. Here, there was no sun. It was dark and wet. Is it dangerous? Said Alex. I do not know, said Catherine. I do not like it. Where is Biff? Is he with you, Catherine? No, said Catherine. I do not know where he is. Biff, they shouted. Biff, Biff, he did not come. They shouted again. Catherine looked through the hole. He was not in the picnic cave. Where was he? They shouted and shouted. Come here, Biff. Good dog, Biff, Biff. Chapter 3, In the Dark Passages. Look, said Catherine. There, give me the torch, please. In the middle of the wall was another hole. It was the start of a passage, and there was Biff. It's not very high, said Catherine. I can touch the ceiling with my hand. We can go inside. Biff can walk in front. The passage was different from the wet cave. There was not any water on the walls, and the floor was dry. But it was dangerous. The children walked, and their shoulders touched the walls. The clothes got dirty. Where is it going? Said Alex. Then there was a loud noise. Alex fell down. Catherine dropped the torch, and it was dark. "What is that noise?" Catherine shouted. She picked up the torch. Alex was on the ground. My ankle, he said. Catherine looked. There was red on his sock. "It's not a bad cut," she said. "But look, you kicked a pile of small stones. And what is this?" In her hand was a bone. It was old and brown. Alex looked. Biff sat down. More stones dropped to the floor. There was another bone. The children did not like it. "What are these bones?" said Alex. "Is there something bad in this cave?" The passage was small and dark. Where did it go? Was it empty? The children listened. There was nothing. In front of them, it was dark. It was black. Behind them, it was black. They looked into the circle of yellow light from the torch. Then they saw something. They saw two eyes, two fires in a dark animal face. Chapter 4. Help. The animal face looked and looked. The eyes did not shut. The children looked too. "It is a picture," said Alex. "Who painted it?" Then there was a noise. It was not loud, but the children heard it, and Biff heard it too. "Biff is running away," said Catherine. She shouted, but it was no good. "Come back," she shouted again. "I can catch him," said Alex. "Wait," said Catherine. "Do not run. It is dangerous. We are going home now. We can catch Biff outside." And they heard the noise again. This time it was louder. They walked along the passage and into the wet cave. But where was the hole to the picnic cave? Shine the torch. There was the water on the floor, and the walls were wet. It was the right cave, but in front of them was a big pile of stone. "There was noise," said Catherine. "It was those stones, these stones falling. What can we do?" "The stones are very big." There was a small hole at the top. Small window of light. Catherine climbed up. "It's no good," she said. "I cannot see." "Can we shout?" said Alex. "Yes, but there is nobody outside." "We didn't tell Grandpa or Grandmother. They do not know where we are." "What can we do then?" said Alex. "We cannot stand in this water." "My feet are cold." "Don't cry, Alex. Don't cry. Listen. It is Biff. He's outside. He's in the picnic cave." Catherine climbed up again. "Biff," she shouted. "Good dog. Come here." Biff climbed up on his side. He put his nose through the small hole. His tongue was wet on Catherine's face. "Listen," she said. "Go to the farm. Tell Grandpa to tell Grandmother. Bring them to the cave. Go back to the farm, Biff." The children waited in the passage. It was dry there. They had some bread and 2 apples in the bag, but not blankets or coats. They were cold. They waited and waited. Catherine went back to the wet cave and climbed up on the stones. There was no light through the small hole. It was night. In the morning, Alex was asleep on her shoulder. Then they heard Grandfather and the man. Chapter 5. The Story of the Cave. The story was in the newspaper. "Look," said Grandfather. He had a newspaper in his hand. The children looked. It said, "Children find cave painting." There were pictures of Catherine and Alex, of Grandfather and the man, and of Biff. Lots of people went to the caves. They went along the passage with big torches. There were more paintings. Clever people talked about them and wrote about them. It was on TV too. Dr. Vickers talked about the pictures and the cave. "Dr. Vickers, the cave is very old. People were there a long time ago. They painted the animals on the walls." "Men, TV men, how many pictures are there?" "Dr. Vickers, there are 42 in the passage." The children were only at the start. It's a very long passage. TV man, the children said there was a pile of stones in the passage. "Yes, that is right. They were not stones. There were hammers and knives made of stone. People used them for cutting meat or for making clothes. The children see there were animal bones there too. Yes, you can make a knife from a bone. People used the small bones for needles. Lunch, shouted grandmother. They sat down at the table. What are you doing this afternoon? Can we have a picnic? Said Catherine. Yes, but do not go into any caves, said grandmother. They all laughed. Page 15. The true story of the caves at Lascaux. There are cave paintings in many different countries. In 1940, 4 boys found the paintings in the caves at Lascaux in France. They were with their dog. Now these caves are very famous. People painted the pictures 30,000 years ago. There are lots of different animals. Some of the animals are different from the ones we have now. There are bison, horses, and reindeer. These animals are food for the people. Why did people paint the pictures? We do not know. They did not live in the caves. It was difficult to paint the pictures. It was very dark in the caves. They had lamps. The lamps did not make the caves dirty. There was no black smoke. The paintings are on the walls and ceilings of the cave. The ceilings are very high. They put wood across the caves and climbed on it and painted the ceiling. Some of the pictures are very big. One picture is 5 meters long. The people had 3 colors, black, red, and yellow. They used the black for the outside of the animal. They used a stick to draw the lines. They put red and yellow inside the black lines. The paintings are very beautiful. The end.